Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm really excited. I'm doing a completely different video than I had originally planned to film today. And you probably already know what you're in for, being that you saw the title already. So today's video is actually inspired by the fact that next Tuesday is my birthday. So on the 25th of February, I turn 34, which is crazy. I do not feel like I'm 34 at all. But life is such a gift. I'm so thankful to be able to celebrate another birthday, and I figured since I'm so new to YouTube, there are probably so many of you who are new to me, and as I continue to share more videos, more and more people will be subscribing that potentially don't know much about me. So I thought this was the best time to do a little 34 facts about me video. So let's get started. I am in the top 50 of my optometrist's blindest patients. I'm extremely nearsighted. One of my contact prescriptions is negative 10.5. The other one is negative 10. And then I have astigmatism in my right eye. That, if you're wondering what that looks like without contacts in, it would be like rubbing like Vaseline on your eyes and then trying to see out of it. So, be jealous. So I'm very thankful for contacts. I've worn them since the 2nd grade. Because my vision is so bad, I'm actually not a candidate for LASIK. A lot of people suggest that when they hear that my vision is so bad, but the LASIK procedure is actually performed by a laser that creates like a thin flap on the cornea, and then it allows the light to kind of reflect off of the retina in a more efficient way for the eye, so you're able to see a lot better once that is done. However, my cornea is really thin because I am so nearsighted, so therefore I am not a candidate. I have been told that by a couple of different ophthalmologists, so darn. My biggest fear in life is being deceived by someone I love. Wonder if I got that from personal experience, and the answer is yes. Speaking of things that I don't like or that I'm afraid of, all of these things would get a hard no from me. Snakes, ginger, the word moist, ugh, and colds/wet feet. Ugh, I can't. None of those. No thank you. I go by my middle name, which is Haley. A lot of people get confused by my username on social media, here on YouTube, my blog, my Instagram. I set up my Instagram before I ever had a blog, and everyone that followed me at the time knew that I went by Haley. They knew me personally. They knew that my first name was Allison, but I never go by that. So it wasn't strange that my Instagram handle was Allison Haley. So when I started to gain a following on Instagram and people started following me that didn't know me, they obviously didn't know that my name that I go by is Haley. So it's a constant thing that I have to remind people or educate people on, because I know that it is really confusing. So in the comments, please call me Haley. When waiting at a checkout counter for the salesperson to finish the transaction, or if I'm at the bank, I am always that person that finds marketing material or business cards and I straighten it. Like, I have to like straighten it and make it look nice and neat. It's never nice and neat. It's always a mess, and it drives me kind of crazy. So I am that person. No shame. I have a Bachelor's of Science degree in nursing, which is one of the hardest undergraduate degrees in the US. I'm very, very proud of my degree. I'm very proud of my license. I keep my license up even though I am no longer a practicing nurse. So before leaving the healthcare field, I worked as a nurse on a neuro and neurosurgical unit at a major medical center here in Jacksonville, Florida, and I worked there for 5 years. So what does that even mean? So I took care of patients after minor and major strokes, any kind of abnormal weakness or sensory deficit or mental status change. I also took care of patients for a good majority of my career as a nurse who came out of brain and back surgeries for different reasons. So I have a lot of experience in pain management, and yeah, I'm just so thankful for my experience as a nurse. I feel like it's made me a better influencer, if that's what you want to call me. I was a blogger for years, so I feel like the term influencer is just strange. But I feel like it's, I feel like I still work in a service industry, and I do feel like in a completely different way I am serving people, but I love that I started out in the workforce as a healthcare provider, because I really do feel like it afforded me a really very, very humbling perspective on what is really important in life. And when I get stressed about this job, I am just like, hey, get yourself back down here on the ground. You are not dealing with life or death situations. Calm down, work through it, and move on. So, loved my time as a nurse. I actually wrote a goodbye letter to nursing on my blog. I will link it in the description box below. So this might be very strange, but I'm one of those people, which I might be the only person that does this, but I've always had this very weird interest in zodiac signs. So when I meet someone new and I'm getting to know them, I always have in the back of my mind the question of what zodiac sign they are. I'm always wondering it because I want to know. And I sometimes play a game with myself and I try and see if I can figure it out before it just happens to come up in conversation. And more than that, once I do find out what their zodiac sign is, I'm either really excited or really sad based on whether or not that sign is compatible with mine. Maybe I shouldn't admit these things. Speaking of zodiac signs, I am a Pisces, and if you are also someone who's into zodiac signs, you probably already knew that from when I shared what my birthday is in the beginning of this video. So if you follow me on Instagram or you read my blog, you may already know this about me and you're like, yeah, okay, we get it. But I am super into the Enneagram, and I am an Enneagram 9. I'm a peacemaker. If you've never taken the Enneagram before, it is such a helpful tool in helping you become a little bit more self-aware and understanding your personality a little bit better. It was mind-blowing to me, and all of my annoying little quirks were explained. It made me feel known and a lot less alone. So if you have never taken it before, I cannot recommend it enough. If you have never taken the Enneagram before and you are curious as to what number you are and you want to learn a little bit more about yourself, I will leave both the paid version and the free version that I think is very reliable linked down below. In middle school and high school, I was painfully shy. It took a lot for me to open up. I think I was just really scared to be myself and share myself with people for fear of rejection, I guess. But I was definitely not like that in college. For whatever reason, I blossomed in college and I was very confident and loved socializing. I had tons of different social groups, and college for me was the best. So I do not do scary movies. It's a big no. It's a hard no for me. And I attribute this to an experience that I had when I was about 7 years old. I was staying over at a friend's house. My friend who I played with all the time down the street from me, she had an older sister who I also adored. I loved her. Her older sister was watching Pet Sematary, and I think that my friend and I came in around the time that she was watching the scene with Zelda, which if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. It's terrifying. And ever since then, I have just been scarred for life. I cannot do scary movies. I will never watch that movie ever again. And yeah, so don't ask me to go watch a scary movie because the answer is no. Having said that, I still actually really like true crime. Documentaries, podcasts, Netflix series. I'm not sure why I can do one and not the other, because I feel like they can be potentially somewhat correlated in a similar category. So yeah, Dateline is my favorite show. If I ever met Keith Morrison, I probably would die. And I have multiple blog posts on my blog highlighting my favorite podcast, documentaries, all those things that relate to true crime. Love Does by Bob Goff is my favorite book. It has been for about 5 years now, and I don't know that I'll ever read a book that will make me smile, laugh, and just make my heart melt the way that that book does. I am a self-proclaimed extroverted introvert. I don't think I struggle in social situations. I actually really like going out for drinks, going to events and things of that nature. I love getting to know people, but I do think that the more social engagements that I have and the more extroverted I am, the more exhausted I am. So I do feel like I'm at my core an introvert. I need that downtime to recharge. So self-proclaimed extroverted introvert, love people, but need my space. So that leads me to my next fact about myself. In social situations, I feel like I'm very good at reading people, and I can sniff out a hidden agenda from a mile away. So don't try me. Just kidding, I'll probably love you. One of my favorite guilty pleasures from a very young age has been musicals, and that is all thanks to that little movie called Newsies that was on the Disney Channel back in the very early 90s. If you are around my age, you may remember it. Christian Bale played the lead. I had the biggest crush on him. I still do. And yeah, so ever since then I've loved musicals. I've seen Les Mis in London twice. I mean, when I lived in London in 2016, I saw so many. I saw like Aladdin, Lion King, Matilda, Les Mis, the list goes on. And I actually saw Hamilton there just after it opened in London, and that might be my favorite, but Les Mis is definitely a very close second. So I was born and raised in Jacksonville, Florida, and I went to school here, college here, and I have gone away a few different times, but I seem to always find my way back. But no matter how many times I find myself coming back here, I have always had this very strange feeling like this isn't where I'm gonna be forever. I don't know why, but I have these like weird intuitive feelings sometimes, and a lot of times they end up being right, which leads me to my next fact. I am someone who firmly believes that you need to trust your gut. I cannot tell you how many times I've had a gut feeling about something and I acted on it and it worked out in my favor. Example, I lived in Colorado in 2011, 2012. After moving there, like a couple of months, I had this very overwhelming, weird feeling like I wasn't supposed to be there. And so I ended up living there for a whole year, and so many things went wrong during that year. I was not meant to be there, and I decided to move back to Jacksonville. I ended up living with my parents. Not fun when you're in your mid to late 20s, and weirdly enough, my mom ended up passing away not even a year and a half after I moved back. But I cannot, and yes, that's sad, and I'm not trying to say that for pity or any kind of reaction. I mean, how sweet is it that I have those memories with her during that time when I could have been in Colorado trying to make something work that wasn't meant for me. So please always trust your gut. That is something that I just firmly believe. I don't know if this is really considered a fact. It's could maybe be a tip, but like it's just something that I just firmly believe deep down is so important, and it is actually why I've decided to go after this whole London dream that I've been wanting. I have had this feeling that it is where I'm supposed to be. So even though it has not been a short road, I'm going for it, and I know that in the end it'll work out because you always should trust your gut. Your gut is always right. I don't do surface level conversations very well. I think as an introvert, it's just, you know, the surface level stuff is just, I can't do it. It's draining, it's annoying. I want to get to know you. I want you to be real with me. I want to do a heart to heart kind of conversation. I love it. Go deep with me and I will freaking love you. My favorite smell in the entire world, hands down, ever, is the smell of peaches. I'm kind of afraid to share this next one. I've never been arrested, but in my freshman year of college, I did get a written arrest during Florida-Georgia weekend at the Landing. If you are from the South and you cheer for an SEC team, you probably know that that's a crazy weekend here in Jacksonville. Or at least it used to be. RIP, the Landing, no longer a thing. Yeah, I had a cup with a Midori sour in it, and obviously it's green. I looked very young for my age, and my boyfriend at the time and I got a written arrest. Not proud. I've definitely always had a type pertaining to guys. My first ever Hollywood crush was Brand from The Goonies. He was played by Josh Brolin, brown hair, brown eyes. Hugh Jackman, Dreamboat, brown hair, brown eyes. Oh, Christian Bale, mentioned him earlier, brown hair, brown eyes. And now look who I fell in love with. John Martin. He's got brown hair and brown eyes. He's so cute. I am someone who appreciates and craves structure, but is also oftentimes simultaneously suffering suffering from wanderlust. It's a struggle. If you're new to me, you might not know that I run a style and travel blog called AllisonHaley.com. I launched it in 2013, so being that it's been 7 years since launching it, this year I decided to venture into something new creatively, YouTube. So thank you so much for subscribing and being a part of my community here on YouTube. I always prefer something that is salty over something sweet. Seriously, do not give me a bag of Ruffles potato chips if you want any, because I will literally eat the entire bag if it's original, the original flavor. Freaking love. When asked what famous person I'd love to sit down and have a meal with, I really can never decide between Dolly Parton, Oprah, and Betty White. So this one might be a little bit weird or random, but it's one that I'm really proud of, so I'm gonna just include it anyways. I was born on the anniversary of my mom's death, and that, again, I know it sounds really weird, but if you just think about it from this standpoint, it's kind of sweet. So my mom lost her mom when she was 17, and she had me when she was 30, which back in, you know, the mid 80s, that was kind of older for a woman. And so, I don't know, I just think about how sweet it is that not only was I the child that made her a mother, being that I'm the oldest, but I was also born on a day that was always really hard for her. And so I think in a lot of ways, from what my aunt has told me, she already saw me as a gift, but the date in which I was born was a huge gift to her because that day was always super hard for her. So I just love that. In college, I was in a sorority. I was in Alpha Chi Omega, and I loved being in a sorority. I was vice president of recruitment, and then I went on to be the Panhellenic president, and then I went on to be the, I think I was like the VP of recruitment counselors. I freaking loved being in a sorority. I thought it was the funnest thing ever, and I know that Greek life gets a really bad rap, but it can do a lot of really great things for people, so don't knock it till you try it. I'm not sporty in the slightest, but I will say I am very proud of my skiing skills. I'm a pretty good skier. I learned when I was 13 in Steamboat Springs, Colorado, but not without bowling over a man that was 5 times my size at the end of the bunny slope. Oops. Growing up, I was the oldest of 3. I have 2 younger brothers named Jared and Bo. And a few years ago when my dad remarried, I gained 2 step-siblings, Jamie and Ryan, who are both older than me. So I am now smack dab in the middle. I have never been in a relationship that lasted longer than a year. I don't know that I'm necessarily proud of that, and I don't know if that's a bad reflection on me, but it's a fact about me. My college boyfriend and I, we dated for right up until a year mark, and then we were off and on for a solid like 3 years total. So I guess technically, like, I've had a 3-year relationship, but it was very rocky. And yeah, every relationship since then has been less than a year, including the one I'm in right now, John Martin. I am confident you are going to be the guy that is my first and last relationship that lasts longer than a year. Freaking love that man. And the 34th fact about me is that I love London. It is my favorite place. If you follow me on Instagram, if you read my blog, you are very familiar with this. I lived there for 5 months at the very end of 2016, and I left feeling like that was where I was supposed to be for the rest of my life. And long story, I will leave my whole blog post about my London love down below for you to check in and read it. It's a long story, but basically I am pursuing a UK visa. I'm hoping to apply very, very soon, and it has actually nothing to do with my boyfriend John, although I do love him dearly. I actually met him after the process was very well underway, but it's taken quite a long time. People don't really realize how long it can take to apply for a visa. A lot of times businesses make it look really easy when they're sponsoring someone. They apply for them, they get a visa, they move. But if you are working for yourself and you want to live in another country, it can take quite some time. So it's been a year and a half in the making, and I'm really excited to hopefully apply very soon and update you guys on maybe some big new life changes. All right, that's gonna do it for today's video. Last little bonus fact is that I'm obsessed with my 2 little sausage babies. This is Fish, and Chips is currently at daycare because he's got some Jack Russell in him and he's got lots of energy. But yeah, I am a sausage dog mom, and I could not love these babies anymore. Thank you so much for watching. If you are new to my channel, please be sure to subscribe by pressing the subscribe button below. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you know when new videos go live on my channel. Thank you guys so much for watching. In the comments below, please let me know a little bit about you. I would love to get to know my YouTube community. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.